A gentleman is defined through fine details, including the correct way to hold a glass. We've previously covered proper table manners, but what about the confusing array of glasses that you're likely to encounter? Often, the conventions of drinking properly aren't some pointless affectations determined by higher society, and in most cases they directly improve the imbibing experience. Rest assured, although it may look confusing, correct glassware etiquette is easier than you might think. Let's start things off with the glass you're most likely to encounter when dining, the wine glass. No matter if it's a red or white wine glass, you always hold them by the stem, never the bowl. Of all the glass holding etiquette mistakes, this is easily the most common one you'll see out there. Holding it by the bowl causes heat from your hand to raise the temperature of the wine over time, altering its taste and limiting your ability to gently swirl it on occasion to better release the aromas, all adding to the tasting experience. Plus, it simply doesn't look quite right. Grip the stem lightly but firmly with your thumb and forefinger. Your middle and ring finger help to stabilize it, or if needed, can be curled back with the little finger to provide more control. Essentially, you're performing a grasp similar to holding a vertically balanced pen. For some improved stability, hold the stem with your hand further up, towards the wider part around the base of the bowl. Holding the glass by its foot does increase the risk of losing balance of the glass if you're not careful, so is best avoided. Also, don't stick your pinky out when holding a wine glass or any other drinking vessel for that matter. There are many conflicting origins for the pinky out poise, whether it's keeping one finger free and dry so you could touch your face and your clothes, to more personal hygiene-based reasons from the French courts. Feel free to Google at your own risk to find out more. Regardless, this action is no longer considered to be the correct etiquette, and doing so will probably have the opposite effect to what you might hope.
If you want to be fancy, hold your pinky up like this.
Sorry, SpongeBob fans. Although wine is often enjoyed with a meal, we feel the best pairing partner for any drink is the right outfit. Today, I'm wearing a separate jacket, trouser and waistcoat ensemble. The jacket is a standalone piece made of a multicoloured Reed & Taylor worsted wool. It looks brown from a distance but has many tones hidden within. Similarly, the trousers are also made from a Reed & Taylor worsted, this time taken from a three-piece suit. With an equally varied amount of colours present in the yarns, it's made wearing and pairing these items particularly easy. The waistcoat is another vintage piece I picked up while we were in London. It's a light grey flannel that's extremely versatile across many outfits. To pick up on these grey and brown tones, my socks from Fort Belvedere also feature these colours in a two-tone flat knit. Continuing this theme are my grey Oxfords from Gaziano and Girling. The patina blends well with the overall ensemble, and the burgundy laces harmonise nicely with the red tones in my jacket. My shirt is a white cotton twill with a collar shape I particularly like from Suit Supply. I'm wearing a tie from Fort Belvedere in a burgundy wool challis with a yellow ochre polka dot design. Also from Fort Belvedere, I'm wearing a white linen pocket square with a hand-embroidered cocktail, one of my favourites, the Negroni. Topping things off, I have a vintage Loris on my wrist with an octagonal case and subtle digital dial. Finally, my fragrance from the Roberto Ugolini collection is Giardino de Boboli. Inspired by the famous Italian garden, the mixture of floral and citrus scents remind me of both the accompanying fruits enjoyed in certain beverages, as well as the ideal location for a refreshing drink in summertime. To add this fragrance, socks, pocket square, tie, or a whole host of other gentlemanly clothing and accessories to your own collection, head to the Fort Belvedere store. Effervescence. These will be your flute or tulip style glasses. Often used at times of celebrations, these long glasses are designed for sparkling beverages, such as champagne. Treat these as you would a wine glass, holding the stem and not the bowl. You could also hold them lower on the stem to avoid heating the drink. However, these can be grasped by the foot when not actively drinking or when offering a glass to someone else, since they're a bit shorter than a wine glass. Coupe glasses. This style is still held by the stem, but you'll want to aim higher up to ensure you have a greater control of the glass relative to its wider bowl. Yes, there are many examples from film and TV where characters are enjoying a drink from a coupe glass while they hold the bowl or even the rim. Rest assured, you now know how to do it properly. Beer glasses. The legendary beer Stein comes with a handy handle. Grasp said handle with your thumb wrapped around it as if you were opening a door, but not resting on top of the handle. If it's lidded, keep said lid down until you start drinking in true German fashion. A beer goblet. Treat beer goblets just as you would a wine glass, gripping the stem with your thumb and forefinger, stabilizing it with your middle and ring fingers as needed. Yes, Indiana Jones may have chosen wisely, but he chose poorly when handling the cup. Pint glasses require you to wrap your hand around the middle of the glass, but keep it as low as possible on the glass to reduce heating the drink in the process. Wherever possible, pint glasses should only be handled when actively drinking, returning the glass to the bar or table when resting. Granted, there's likely going to be an occasion at a lively pub where you'll be stuck holding your pint glass, and maybe a companion's too. In these circumstances, the gentlemanly thing to do is simply enjoy the ambience, the drink, and the company. Liquors and spirits. Martini glasses are similar to wine glasses, but you grip with your thumb, forefinger, and middle finger, because the glass is usually thicker at the stem, and then you stabilize it with the ring and little finger. Whether you prefer your martini shaken or stirred, remember, you'll now be doing it better than Bond typically does. Really 007. Whether you're enjoying a classic Negroni, an old-fashioned, or even a whiskey neat, these drinks require a grip placed higher up on the glass. You'll typically want to aim for above the level of the liquid, especially if it has ice, to avoid any body heat melting the ice prematurely. But you can grip lower down on the glass for neat drinks, where there's no ice, since body heat is less of a concern here. I swear I have no relation to the Collins glass, it's just a good coincidence. This style you hold with as few fingers as needed. As the drink is likely going to contain a lot of ice, you want to avoid wrapping your hand around it. Not only will it prevent the ice from melting faster, it'll also be more comfortable for you, as you won't need to contend with dripping condensation as often. So, as ice floats in liquid, it's best to aim for as low as possible on the glass when holding drinks in a highball. A cross between a wine, martini and coupe glass, the Margarita Glass has a very distinctive bowl shape and a thicker stem. This glass style requires you to hold it higher up on the stem for a firm, more secure grip, not unlike a coupe. Never hold this glass by the rim, as it'll likely be coated in salt or sugar as part of the drinking experience itself. So this would be tantamount to putting your thumb in the soup while handling a bowl of soup. As a shot is designed to be drunk quickly, you likely won't be holding this glass long. But for occasions where you might be offered a sample or something to sip gently from a shot glass, you'll want to grip lightly in a pinching style, with your thumb and only 2 or 3 additional fingers at the base of the glass. Don't wrap your hand around it, since the excess grip will ruin your dexterity with such a smaller glass style. Port and sherry glasses. Sweeter pudding and digestif wines like port or sherry are typically served in smaller glasses. If the glass style is stemmed, pinch slightly around the middle of the stem to maintain control, like a mini wine glass. Just be mindful of the fact that these glasses tend to be very small, and you'll likely only be able to use just a couple of fingers in order to stabilize it. Snifter glasses. Brandy and other forms of snifters are served in a glass with a short stem and a deep, wide bowl. Now, this glass style is actually an exception to the previously discussed rules, because the liquid is meant to be warmed up by your hand. It can be grasped with your hand wrapped around the lower portion of the bowl with the stem to one side, or in a traditional snifter grasp. This is where you hold the glass as if gripping an upturned ball, with the stem of the glass between your fingers. The important thing here is for your hand to align with the location of the liquid, since you're intentionally trying to warm it to enjoy the drink to its fullest. Water glasses. Water glasses can take the form of any of the aforementioned glass styles, and may even be served in a Pilsner-style glass with a squat stem and large, tall bowl. Regardless of the glass style, water glasses tend to be fully filled, making them heavier than alcoholic drinks tend to be. It's easiest to grip them near the middle of the glass for stability. Of course, if your water is served in a stemmed glass, feel free to use the stem as previously discussed. Trust me, you'll quickly work out whether the weight of the water requires you to hold the glass by the body instead. And rest assured, no one is going to pull you up on holding the glass incorrectly, especially if it prevents you from an embarrassingly wet lap. Handing a glass to someone else. When handing the glass to someone else, you may need to briefly break these rules, so the receiving party can properly grip the glass themselves. When handing over the glass, leave the proper area for holding it clear, so that the person receiving it can grip it both correctly and seamlessly. You don't want to be blocking the very spot for which they're reaching, as it results in this strange kind of tango of not knowing who's in control of the beverage. Never hold a glass intended for someone else by the rim. This is basic etiquette and hygiene. If you're handed a glass by someone else in this manner, politely accept the glass and discreetly wipe the rim with a handkerchief or napkin when you have a chance. And don't make a big show of doing so. It's simply ungentlemanly. With some exceptions, glass holding etiquette really comes down to these basic concepts. The goal when drinking from a glass is usually to keep the drink cold, so you need to reduce contact with the glass itself in order to avoid heat transference. Whereas, on the odd occasion, the opposite rules apply if the goal is to heat the drink up. In most cases, if a drink has a stem, it's designed to be used, so holding it there will be the correct way to handle it. We'd love to hear what other eating and drinking utensils we could cover in future videos. Let us know in the comments below.